I done studied every day, 7 days a week, as many hours as I could put in. And even while I was in college, I was practicing hard. If it wasn't for my roommate, I probably would have flunked out of college. But my roommate, older gentleman, William, made me get up from doing push-ups and running around, doing katas and everything, kicking and punching and study. I was in college and I wanted to be in the Persian rifle, the ROTC drill team, because coming up with the Elks, we were in the drill team. And we was drilling with rifles in college and all. And to maintain, to get in, you had to have a B average. And when I graduated from high school, I was only a C- student. I wasn't that studious in school. And here I am in college, taking one of the hardest courses that you could take, engineering, and then trying to get into the ROTC Persian Rifle, which is the fraternal organization of the ROTC.
Yeah.
Had to maintain a B average. That was hard on me, but thanks to my roommate making me study, I made it, and I got into the ROTC Persian Rifle. And they wanted to test me. We had to go through initiation. I had to do all kind of stuff. They punched on me and this and that. Made me eat whipped cream, shaving cream for whipped cream on cracker to see if I would break, if I would crack, you know. Yeah. Come on, hit me back, Mr. Karate Man. Come on, you Karate Man, hit me back. But being in the Elks Lodge, we had initiation, so I had been disciplined to go through initiation. And plus, karate had a lot of strict discipline. So I was able to weather that. I used to beat my hand on a stone trying to break a 25-pound stone. After a couple of years, I only put a little crack in it. But that was something.
Yeah.
So I opened up a karate school. We started going up to Canada, competing and all. And that's how my competition days got started. Then around 73, I was in Chicago. Master Trias, Robert Trias, who brought karate to America in 1946. He spotted me out, heard about me. You've been winning some of these tournaments, boy. You need to be joining our association. What rank are you? I was still only a first-degree black belt through all these different schools because you had to keep starting over. He said, well, we can rank you up a little higher if you can pass your test, you know, all your stances and techniques and all. And I got a gentleman here by the name of John Keehan, and if you can keep up with him, we might can consider taking you up to your second-degree black belt. Well, this John Keehan, as most people know of him as Count Dante.
Count Dante?
The scariest man alive. He was crazy, too.
What the hell?
Well, we had heard about him and seen him, too. Well, I wasn't scared of him. Shoot, I've been competing and doing pretty decent. Master Trias test me on my katas and blocks and punches and kicks and everything. Now let's see how you can stack up with this guy here. And we did. We fought for, a good time. And I kept up with him. He couldn't take me and I couldn't take him. But I was able to stick there with John Keehan, Count Dante, the most deadliest man alive. So Master Trias was very impressed because he thought he was going to sweep me up and, kick me all around. But just to the contrary, I hung in there very well. Well, Master Trias wanted me to join the United States Karate Association he had formed and wanted me to travel from tournament to tournament with him. Now, back then, Mr. T, we had tournaments almost every weekend.
Yeah.
Some tournaments was on Fridays. Some was on Saturdays. Some was on Sundays. We went to tournaments day on the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But a lot of times we would go on a Saturday and a Sunday somewhere. Tournaments back then, you would have hundreds of people there. 6, 7, 8, 9, 1,000 competitors. And you know how many trophies there'd be? 3. First, second, and third place. They didn't have all these different weight division, colored belts, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You had your white belt, your green belt eventually they had put in, and brown belt and black belt. That was it. It wasn't all these different colored belts. But when we first started, there was white, brown, and black belt competition. Then they eventually put in the green belt also. So for us to win, and I placed in every tournament I've competed in from 65 up to 75 when I retired. And my competition record speaks for itself.
Yeah.
So I went with Master Trias. I flew from Cincinnati to Phoenix, Arizona on several occasions. I drove from Cincinnati, where I was living at, out to Phoenix, Arizona, where he lived at, and trained. I had to meet him just about every weekend at a certain tournament in a certain city or wherever it was. And a lot of our training was in the hotel rooms and out in the yards and whatnot. There was other gentlemen with me, like Jimmy Jones from Chicago, Illinois, who was one of our top champions. Artie Simmons from Erie, Pennsylvania, who was one of our top champions. They used to call us the Three Musketeers.
Yeah.
Because if we ever was at a tournament, all three together, we would take all 3 places.
They might well go home.
They said, oh, no, they call us the Three Musketeers and all. But that was our hard training. Master Trias was being one of those hard instructors also. And I give him credit for developing me into the 4-time world champion. He put me up to go up against Bruce Lee. I went up against Bruce Lee to see if he was really as fast as he thought he was. He tried to throw some punches at me, which I blocked. I threw punches at him, which he couldn't block. Then he wanted me to check out his Jeet Kune Do, jumping up and around and running around, and we sparred, and I beat him. And he has the audacity to ask me, how did I like the Jeet Kune Do? I said, well, I didn't, as you seen. I could tag you anytime I won. You couldn't get in on me. Well, a lot of people like it. I said, yes, because they don't know karate. You know, all that jumping and running around he had came up with, trying to do the alley shuffle. Man, a good karate man down in a stance, tear you up anytime. Well, that's how we had been taught in karate, how to move from one stance to another. All these instructors that I done been under, just as strict and just as hard, teaching you good, solid stances and how to move in. And then here's somebody going to come up and jump and bounce around. No way. I knew how to box anyway. I had boxed from the 9th Street YMCA. So there was others. Dr. Mongi. Dr. Mongi was my Bondo instructor and kickboxing instructor. And he was just as strict and hard as the rest of them.
Yeah.
And he used to do demonstrations, bursting balloons in the air with a snap with his punch, ripping a piece of notebook paper with a punch. I used to hold the paper while he did all this stuff. And Dr. Mongi and Master Trias used to kind of fight over me. What techniques was I going to use, the soft system or the hard system? But I loved it, 2 top instructors, training me and all. And there was others, Atlee Cheatham out in Texas and Frank Goody out in Colorado teaching me a lot of weaponry and whatnot. I used to cut potatoes off of people's neck with a samurai sword, slice an apple vertical and then horizontal off their head. Oh, I used to do a lot of things, Master Trias. had me laying on a bed of nails, letting them break 8 inches of concrete over my stomach with a sledgehammer. I worked the weapons. I placed in every weapon and kata contest just about that I entered, and demonstrations. There was old Judge Dillman. He used to give me competition in katas and weapons and demonstration. I do my demonstration. He did his, breaking 50 pounds of ice and whatnot. And I used to jump up and kick 3 times in tournaments and demonstrations. So that was my training.
Yeah.
Now, through all this hard training with all these different instructors, just as strict, had me punching snowflake, raindrops, outside in cold weather, with just your gi on in the snow and whatnot, hitting trees, stuffing up, kicking limbs, sparring for hours and hours at a time, sit-ups, push-ups till you drop, fingertips, push-ups, knuckles push-ups, wrist push-ups, beating each other arms, blocking. You stood there and you blocked, hitting each other arms till they swole up and bruised up. Oh, my God, the way we used to train back then. Well, that was some of my training.
Yeah.
Now, any questions on it in my training?
What were some of the techniques you used to beat Bruce Lee in the Kumite? Because you don't really talk about that. So,
a lot of people like to know that. Let me start off giving you a little bit of my background on my competition. I can't remember every tournament, naturally, and I couldn't remember every person that I defeated. But some of my major tournaments was I became the first Grand National Champion.
Yeah.
Making me the first African-American Grand National Champion in the world, defeating Big Mike Foster in Miami, Florida, back in 1965. He was undefeated, and I had to fight him for the final match. Master Tria said that was the best match he ever seen in his life, like a mice fighting an elephant. I jumped up on his legs, swung around his back, threw shoe toes to his neck, dropped down, went between his legs, did drop kicks on him. Oh, I did all kind of techniques on him. I used to go up into a catch stance with an inside block and hold and block all kicks that come at me. He was so powerful, he kicked me on the arm and sent me into the bleachers. I said to myself, oh, well, this ain't going to work on him. He was huge. He was a giant. Oh, 6'6", 270-some odd pounds. And I'm weighing 165, 70 pounds, dripping wet. But I beat him. I went inside with reverse punches. I did drop kicks, jump kicks. I went all around his back. He would get down in the big kibidachi, horse stance, startle stance, and he would inch in on you. And boy, he was knocking people all over the place. Well, that was in 65. In 1966, in Richmond, Virginia, I won the USKA World Championship, defeating the undefeated Hawaiian champion that was there from Hawaii. Now, at our World Championships back in the days, we had people there from different countries, all over. Nowadays, a guy down the street in his backyard called his tournament a World Championship, and there's nobody there from even another city, let alone from a different country. Everybody claimed to be given a grand national tournament, and there are no national champions. There are people of quality. They just having tournaments nowadays just to be making money. But the Hawaiian champion was there, and I defeated him for the World Championship at Daniels Pie in Richmond, Virginia in 1966. And I beat him with reverse punches. I used to practice throwing reverse punches at the mirror to see if I can punch fast enough that made it look like a blur, that I couldn't see it. Well, that's how I trained back then. I used to practice hitting at raindrops, being outside